Okay, so here's the lowdown. I have several clients who are currently dealing with a similar issue, namely starting to lift the bar up with their arms while unracking the press. Instead of unracking it packed tightly, walking it out this way, and then lifting it, they lift it with their arms while unracking the press. So I wanted to make a little tutorial video about improving and fixing this issue. And I thought, it might be good enough. Maybe I'll actually bring my microphone down and maybe I'll actually upload it to YouTube. So I filmed it yesterday after my workout, and the content was just about exactly what I wanted, but the production quality was pretty low. First, I was all sweaty and messy after my own workout. I had also cleaned I have some plates that were in storage that I just took out of long-term storage that were dirty, so I cleaned them and I had some smudges on my arms. Then my neighbor stopped in front of my garage and started talking to me, drove up in front of my garage, and started talking to me before realizing I was filming a video. The microphone transmitter was blocking the view of the main part of the video, so it's partially obscured. It doesn't actually obscure anything that you need to see, but it does obscure the lower part of the screen. And then the microphone stopped working partway through, so only about three quarters or more is mic'd, give or take. I don't know, I didn't measure it exactly, but a decent amount is not mic'd. So the production quality value is pretty low, but the content actually came out just about exactly what I wanted, given the limitations of my small one-car garage where I can't use all the angles I'd like to. And the fact that I'm filming with a tripod, I don't have a person to actually film and move around. So I've decided, even given all that I'm still going to upload it. So I just wanted to let you all know beforehand. I know it's pretty low production quality, even though it's not like I'm known for production quality. I just do this kind of on a whim. I don't really know much about the editing part or any of that. But even for me, which I don't generally emphasize that stuff, even then it's still a little bit low. But the content was good, so I wanted to put it out there for public viewing. And hopefully you'll find it useful. So that's what I got for you. So enjoy this video about fixing your unrack to unrack the bar properly on the press. All right, it's Wolf here, and I have noticed a pretty common issue pop up over and over again among the people that I coach. So I thought I'd make a quick video for it. I'm doing it in true influencer fashion, as you can see, with a highly specialized outfits for maximum clicks. Just finished my workout myself, and I'm going to try to do this as much as possible in one shot. Probably will have to be 2 shots to get a close-up because I'm only working with a tripod. We'll probably need a close-up, but as you can see, highly professional. At least I got the microphone this time, unlike my last workout. So the issue that I'm talking about is unracking the press. This is one of those issues that's at light weights you can get away with, but when you set the habit at those light weights, it comes to bite you in the ass on the heavy weights. So we're going to try to fix it at the light weights, so it's your always pattern that you do also when it gets heavy. That's just a good general guideline. A lot of stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of difference, and your lighter sets, whether you want to call them your routine work, your volume work, your off-season work, your RPE 6 to 7.5 work, if you prefer to call it that heretically. Whatever it is, when it's lighter, you can get away with it, doesn't make a difference. The problem is most people can't turn it on and off to where they do it perfectly when necessary, if they always, generally through their volume and repetitive work, don't do it perfectly or don't do it efficiently. So we're talking about that as a general rule. Now we'll apply it specifically to this. We're talking about unracking the press. And the issue is that people use their arms when they unrack the press. It expends a little extra energy on the unrack as well as when you're standing there. So first let's establish a couple things. For the purposes of the press, our starting point has to be anywhere below the chin. Now, that's a little bit arbitrary in the sense that it has kind of a big range where some people will start with the bar on their clavicle, on their upper delts, and some people will start with it just under their chin. So it allows a kind of a broad range of possibilities, but it's good enough for our purposes for the press, especially considering the fact that different people have different arm ratio lengths. For example, if you look at mine, I have a very short humerus, a very short upper arm, but relatively long forearms. For a clean, to rack a clean, or to jerk, that gives me a disadvantage. For the press, it gives me a bit of an advantage because my natural position has the bar floating up high. So I actually have to tilt my chin up a little bit just to get the bar under my chin. Also because I have a lot of meat here to pack in. So the skinnier you are and the shorter your forearms are relative to your humerus, the lower the bar will sit all other things being equal. But anyway, point is, our starting point has to be under the chin. Below that, kind of anything goes. It's not quite that simple, but that's good enough for our purposes today because I don't want to distract from our main focus of not moving your arms in the unrack. So when you unrack, I've made several Instagram posts about this, but you know, Instagram posts easily get lost in the shuffle. I'm going to post this to YouTube where it seems to get a little more consistent hits, where you can more easily reference it later. Is that the idea is you want to get into the exact position that you're going to press in before you press, with your arms packed in tight, and just use your knees to unrack it. It's a bilateral unrack. It's not this, right? Because imagine doing this with 300 pounds, right? It's going to throw you off balance. So it's, again, something you can get away with lightweight. It's better to do it bilaterally, and the only unrack is with your knees. So notice that this, and I got dirty. I was cleaning some of my dirty plates today. Notice that the unrack doesn't involve moving the arms at all. You don't pull it out of the rack. Again, trying to imagine doing that with 300 pounds. But you also don't, in the process of unracking, lift it up. You don't start to press. You're packed in, and it's just getting under it and standing up. So what that looks like from afar would be something like this. Now, here's one more caveat. For the purposes of this demo, I have to face the camera. Normally when you unrack, I would face the direction that you're going to rack and unrack, I would face that way. So I'll do it facing the camera so you can see it clearly, but just remember, when you're actually lifting, if at all possible, if you can't avoid it because of whatever the situation in the gym is, you should still press, but generally speaking, don't unrack it facing away so you have to re-rack it without being able to see. You always want to be able to see it on the re-rack because that's where the kind of danger situation typically takes place, by missing a re-rack. So this is just for demonstration purposes only with a very light weight. So take a look. First I'll show how people are doing it wrong. And I'll do this from here, and then I'll do a closer up where it kind of zooms in on my arms in the middle of the bar so you can see it a little better. So take my grip, I'll get under it correctly, and then I will do it wrong. So get under it, and then they start to unrack it, and they start their first rep from here, and it's already up at my nose and mouth level. Okay? So that's what we're trying to avoid, both because it uses more energy, both in the unrack and holding it there, because I'm not packed in, right? The way you want to do it correctly is where you have stacked body parts, so it's being supported mostly by your body, not by the musculature, not by muscular effort, but by the anatomy of your body does the bulk of the work. So it expends less energy. So both in the unrack and holding it expends less energy. Also, if you're going to compete or if you're trying to keep your range of motion repeatable to the point where you're always going below your chin, it starts the first rep at a higher point. So it changes, it's like squatting your first rep of the set 3 inches above parallel, and then all the subsequent reps below parallel. Change the dynamics of the set. So again, incorrectly, what people keep doing, and what we're trying to fix, is the following. This is incorrect. See that? So I'm up here. Notice when I replicate that without the bar, my arms are already, my humerus rather, is already parallel to the floor. That's kind of a telltale. Now, ideally, I'd show this from the side. As you can see, I have walls immediately to either side. So I can't really show this from the side. Sorry, I gotta fix the mic. Very high production values here. But yeah, I can't show from the side. But from the side, you would see a forearm parallel to the ground and see how that puts the bar up at my nose level. So if your forearms are parallel or almost parallel to the ground, that means you're probably doing this. In contrast, watch me do it correctly, and I'll mimic that again from this way. So doing it correctly looks like this. I'll get under it the same way, and then I will take it out this time correctly. You're gonna see my upper arm stays packed in tight to my torso. I sometimes use the cue triceps into ribs or triceps into lats. Squeeze your armpits to cue this, and you'll see what I mean when I do it correctly right here. So see how my upper arm is still packed in tight. See how the bar sits comfortably under my chin without a whole lot of extra effort. Because I have those long forearms, I still have to tilt my chin up a little bit, but basically it sits under my chin comfortably. Now you noticed that my upper arm was like this. So instead of being parallel to the ground, when I do it wrong, it was packed in tight so it looks like this. And notice my forearm now is not parallel to the ground, it's at an angle, right? See that angle? That's what we want. Your forearm should have that angle. So if you're noticing any videos from the side at all and your forearm at the start of the unrack does not have that angle, you're probably doing this. So let's look one more time. I'll do one incorrectly and contrast that with one correctly. Then I'll show it again in a close-up. I'll have to stop the video for that. Okay, so first let's show incorrect. Right, see that? Again, we see the forearms roughly parallel to the ground, incorrect. Let's watch it done correctly. All right, see how they're still packed in? So they're packed into my torso. Okay, let us take a quick break and we'll go back with a close-up. Okay, back again. This is just to give you a little more of a close-up of the same thing. First, incorrectly, watch how I lift my arms up and watch how my humerus, my upper arm, drifts towards parallel with the floor, parallel with the earth. So incorrectly looks something like this. And see how my upper arm is parallel with the earth and the bar is already floating at nose height? That's kind of why you want to avoid unracking that way, and you typically want to take it out the other way. This is just for demo purposes. Okay, and again, let's do it correctly. Watch how my upper arm stays packed in to my torso, to my lats, to my rib cage, however you want to think about it. And notice how the bar will sit comfortably under my chin without me having to make a whole lot of effort for it. See that? Packed in tight, packed into my rib cage, bars under my chin while I'm looking straight ahead. Not that is another point I'll just mention since we're here. Looking straight ahead, or roughly straight ahead, a little bit up is okay, is useful for the press. Don't have your gaze wandering all over. Don't look at the bar, and don't kind of look up as you go. It's okay if your head moves a little, kind of as you get out of the way of the bar, but your eye gaze should remain on the same spot. I like to look at something a little bit up, so either straight ahead or a gentle upward angle is useful for the press. A, better than looking all around. B, better than following the bar. And C, better than kind of looking straight up. You definitely don't want to be like a Pez dispenser as you press. So just a last point. Okay, hope that was useful. Hope you enjoyed the sweaty outfit, and we'll see you for the next video. Okay, so that was my little treatment of unracking the bar correctly in the press. The main thing I wanted to address there's a lot of different videos you can make about correctly unracking the bar in the press. The main thing I wanted to address there was the idea that the arms should be glued or welded to the torso during the unrack. And the unrack process is really done with your legs. So you stand in position, move your legs to come up and down, but notice that my arms relative to my torso don't move. They stay glued there, and I extend my knees to stand up. But notice that this all moves together rather than my arms coming up. So what people are doing is they're getting under the bar and then starting to lift it with their arms and kind of pull it out, lift it out, and then back up, and kind of just talking a little bit how to correct that, a little bit about why it's inefficient. I think that's pretty self-evident because you don't have the skeletal and body anatomical support. You're exerting a lot of effort just to hold the bar during the walkout and the kind of before the first rep and the in-between reps process. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and hopefully found this video useful despite all my production quality lag that I had there. Drop a comment if you have any suggestions for future videos or questions on this video. We'll see you next time.